something that you have to dissect, and something that I was able to look over in the 2 years of financials that I was looking at. And so then, okay, now let's go see this business. It's up north. I usually look at businesses and properties in Florida I've never looked at an out of state business before. So this is the first for me. It goes through seasons. So right now it's in the winter time, and that was obvious when I was there. It actually started to snow.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome again to another episode here. I'm so grateful to have you all take time out of your day and check out another episode here on my channel. Today, I have a special friend, Ashley Perez. Ashley, thank you so much for being here on what day is it today? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? It's a Monday. Ashley, thanks for taking time away from your family, your friends, your business, to spend time here with me and my audience to share a little bit about you. Thanks again.
Cool. Thanks for having me, Edgar. Thank you very much.
Awesome, Ashley. So, I love having entrepreneur-minded people here, and you're crushing it in your space, especially moms, right, that are doing everything, right? You have two little ones, right? So dealing with family, dealing with little ones, and then dealing with your business, and growing and scaling your business, right? You're doing it all. So super proud of what you're doing. So before we get into that, though, how you're making all that happen, take me back into Ashley Perez, like taking that leap into this business world environment. How did that look like, Ashley?
Cool. So to go back, I come from a very traditional family. My father is Puerto Rican. Both my parents are Puerto Rican, and family is certainly priority number one. Comes first and foremost before everything else. So I really have a strong foundation in providing and making sure that I take care of my priorities first. But it did come with breaking some of the, traditional mindset that can be limiting for a lot of us, coming from traditional backgrounds. My father really wanted me to go to school and have a, prestigious, profession, and the common question at home was like, what are you going to be? What are you going to be? You're going to be this, you're going to be
Right.
that, and so it was really at the forefront of my mind. But being something then was going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be, something that you had to go to college for, and you got out of college and, you went right into the workforce, working 40 plus years, working towards that pension. And that's really what, most of my family is, except for one family member. My aunt, she happened to marry a business owner, entrepreneur, and she is like the godfather of my family. Everyone listens to her. She takes care of everybody. She had like the nicest of things, and they drove the jet cars, and like they were like it. And I remember my uncle, who is like a father figure. Like everybody in the family is like, everybody's important. Everybody has the important role in the family. My uncle, he was like, if you're going to be anything, you need to be a business owner. That's what you need to be. And it went against what my dad wanted me to go to school for. But my uncle was like, look at the Diaya, like, look at her lifestyle. That's what you want. You don't want to go working. You don't want to be a working man like me. And he really changed the perspective, because my dad worked really hard. Like my dad, was a single parent when I was my last year in elementary school, and then for all of my middle school and all of my high school. And all that I remember of my dad is working and then being present with us. And so he was a police officer. And so he would pick the midnight shifts so that he would work at the night while we were sleeping, and then be at school practice, drop us off, make us breakfast. And like, this is what I remember my dad, like going to work at night, coming home, showing up for us. And then I would go to school, come back. He would be helping me with, doing sports. Sports was a big thing. And then go right back to work. And luckily for me, I did have a good circle of influence. My grandmother took care of us, as a lot of, Latino families, have the privilege of, having in their lives. And so she always made the best food, and we always were well taken care of. But of what I saw with work was just my dad working extremely hard, like extremely hard. So that is what I was built on. Everything that I did, like I had to be the best of the best. My dad, he was my coach in sports, and he would tell me, yes, you're the coach's daughter, but if you are not the best of the best, you're just the best scrub. And I can't have you claiming that you're the best scrub. So like, you really have to show up and show out. And so I just would always work really hard. My dad instilled that on me until my uncle changed the perspective of, why do you want to be like this for the rest of your life? And that didn't really settle in until college. College was when the real working environment kind of hit me, because all before that I had jobs. My first job was when I was 16, and I used to work at a Chinese restaurant that I hated. I literally cried after school. I mean, after that job every day. I hated that job. And then I worked at Champ Sports, and like work was fun. Like work was fun because it was like, oh, I'll go to school and I'm making a little bit of money, and then I'm like spending it, and it's cool. But then when it came into college, where it started to settle in that like, oh my gosh, like this is what work will continue to be like. And one of the biggest like gut punches was the raise that I got for working really hard, which was like 20 cents. And then the fact that I had to ask for time off. And it was like, this is so crazy that I'm working so hard. The only acknowledgement is a 20-cent raise. I'm going to have to do this for years of my life. And I have to like ask people for permission to just take a day off or go, go to the doctors. And so like that just really started working in me in college. And the profession didn't look as professional anymore. Like it was like, oh, that just seems like, that's not going to be it for me. Because I'm an extremely hard worker, and I was ready in college to be in the workforce to make money. And so thinking of going to school to be a lawyer for 4 more years, and then after you became a lawyer, like working hundreds of hours in a firm for years on end to prove yourself, was like, no, that doesn't seem like that's what I want to do. And I think that there are certain.
Where were you at college when you realized that? Was it your freshman, sophomore? Kind of like, where were you at?
No,
during your college?
It started to happen like junior year, because freshman year is exciting. You're like, I'm working towards this profession. Sophomore year, you start to take classes towards that profession. And then junior year, you're like, and I'm like, I changed my
your degree.
my degree. Yeah, I went into college to be a actress. Then I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to make a lot of money at least out the gate unless some director caught I caught their eye. And then I changed it to psychology, and then I was like, I don't want to listen to people's problems. Like, no. And then I changed it to a lawyer because I'm like, all right, well, they're high paying. And I was really like just being driven by the financials. Like, no matter what I do, especially if I have it in me, like I'm putting 110% into it. So it was like, what do I like? What can I create out of the thing that I like? And can I make money out of that? And if it didn't line up with being better than the quote unquote working man, then I was continuing to search for it. I was just like really hunting it down. And I literally changed it up my graduating year of college and took a whole chance on some sales job that ended up being the start of my entrepreneurial journey. So
Wow.
I was really looking for it. Like I was hunting it down and I was trying a little bit of this. And then I was like, yeah, I can see the future in that. And that's not going to work. And I tried a little bit of that and nah. And then it really started to change, my uncle chiming in, looking at my dad, dude, I love this man. I love this man. And one of my other goals, and I think this is for a lot of people, but I know especially in the Latino community, is we give back to our family. Like that is just something that we do. Like it's kind of like you people that even immigrate here, like they give back to their home country. Like they come here to make the money. You know what I'm saying? Like they come here and like, this is where I'm going to make this money. And I'm going to give it back to my family to give them a better life. And so that was part of my looking at the finances is how do I get my dad out of being that? Like, how can I afford the lifestyle I want? But most importantly, be able to afford him and getting him out of the, golden handcuffs, really.
Yep.
So that's really what I was, searching for in my college years. And what I ended up finding it on a whim, luckily. Well, I call it a whim, but probably aligned with what I needed to be doing in my life when I found it. So
yeah, it's so powerful how you describe your journey right from high school and how you had an uncle that was that entrepreneur, kind of that unicorn in the family, right? That went off into more of the business side and being sort of that person there, right? That could guide others. But it's interesting how all of us at different times, right? We may not resonate with a message that we're told till later on in our journey where we realize it's like, oh my God, this is what he was trying to tell me.
Yeah. And I think I was the one that most absorbed it then and there because I was like prime in my time period when I could make that adjustment. Whereas some others who have now made that adjustment, like you said, just when they receive it, just certain things aren't fully lined up for them to just kind of, make the 180 and, choose another route to add on to it. So there, like a lot of my family members have really started to, add more to their income and add other streams. So I think that there definitely needs to be certain things that are just lined up in order for you to do that. I think that, for instance, like for my dad, although he sees the advantage to being an entrepreneur and even making investments, he still has some, he has to rely on,
Right.
where he's getting his income. And he is so far in the game in his life that he does have to see it all the way through so that he can get what he's been working 50, 60 years for his retirement. I mean, it's not just something to throw away. Like you gotta,
Yeah.
you gotta get a pension, and things like that. So for me, I had super low overhead. I was a college kid. I didn't have kids at the time. Like I could still eat cans of corn and, little food. Like,
Yeah. But it's
so
important, right? I
that's when
mean,
I,
us coming from like Latino families, right? It's important for you to the message you're giving, right? It's like don't have that limited mindset, right? Especially for young entrepreneur Latinos, right? That they understand that we are hard workers, right? That our Latino culture is all about hard working, but don't limit yourself on the opportunities, right? To your point, especially at an early age, right? If you're a junior or sophomore, probably more a junior and senior in high school that are already looking at college, there's so much opportunity out there. So just don't limit yourself, right? Surround yourself with people that are there. And now if you graduated from college or college wasn't your thing, I think there's still big opportunities, right? So I love the way you touch that limited mindset, especially for Latinos, right? So way to push that, and I think for all of us, it's hard, right? It's you know what your mom and your dad have told you: go to school, but there are other opportunities, right?
yeah, there are, and it does take you exploring, you know, it is, that's it. That's why, like you said, junior, senior, even into college, like that is like one of the greatest time periods of your life to to be exploring options and to not be so rigid in thought and to be open-minded of opportunities like I did when I took this random job in New Jersey in a state I'd never visited before in my life by myself with my boyfriend, just to try something that could potentially turn into something that it ended up being. So
Mm.
yeah, yeah, and I think
Well,
for you too, I think you've got an entrepreneurial son, who's exploring that side of him, and I love seeing, you encouraging that for, your children. So, and you've got like four shots at it, man. So
yeah,
I
that
only
that
got
is,
two, man. I have two
yeah.
strikes.
It's that goes back to being an intentional parent, right? Like intentionality behind being a dad, a mom, right? And how we, because we know that the steps are the sacrifices our parents made are different sacrifices than we're making, so that puts us in a different position to give other feedback to our sons, right? And I think that's so important. I know you're big about homeschooling your kids, and big kudos to you, right? Because it takes a lot of energy, a lot of patience to go through that, but the huge benefits behind that, right? So goes back to intentionality, and I think that's amazing what you're doing there. Um, Now, we touched on your early awesome journey on how you found your way discovery into your sales position in New Jersey. Let's fast forward now, right? Fast forward us into that first business that you acquired. Um, how did that come
Ooh.
about? What challenges did you face? Like as far as your team building culture around your business, tell us a little bit about that.
So acquisitions is different from starting from scratch,
Mm,
yet they have very similar components. Like you said, team building. You have to do that whether you're picking the team or you're coming into a team. And even with putting together the components of what was already there with an existing business or building that up from scratch. It's a whole lot easier acquiring something that's already put in time and effort and money than it is to starting from the bottom and kind of building your way up. I just wrote somewhere that buying a business is scary, but building one is risky. And it is, it's so, there's fear in everything we do. Like even with children, having children, sending them off to school, like, there's fear in a lot of things that we do. I just shared with you, like even to this day, I'm 35 and going and traveling to a different city by myself with a very big meeting. It was scary. It was building up in me, but you can overcome that. And so with choosing the less riskier but scary route, because when you build something, you kind of get, kind of blinded with your confidence. Like, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. So like the scariness isn't necessarily there because you've just like pumped yourself up to doing that. But it is really scary to take over something that was there. So, there is still struggles. I think part of even acquiring this new business, even the business that we've even considered doing together, it's how are they going to work? How are, do they have habits we don't even know yet about?
Right.
And it, took a couple with the first one that I acquired. It took a couple. I had to physically be there. I had to physically be there to be a part of the business, to understand it, show up in the morning, be there all the way until the end. I had to work alongside the people. I had to build the relationship with them. And you think you got it, and then you leave. And then it still it still requires more work and effort. And so I think that when you are acquiring with the first one, something existing, you can't forget the fact that no matter what, it still requires your attention, whether you're physically there or not. And so some things that we've implemented are weekly meetings. I meet with the team every single week at the RV park, and that wasn't something that I did right away. It's something that I've implemented when you see the trend of, like your motivation only lasts so long, right? Like we know that motivation is something to continue to work at. So being there, you're pumped up, people are like on their best behavior. They're showing you all the great things about it. But then when you leave, they'll keep it up. They'll keep it up for a little bit. And then when you start to believe that, I can take my foot off the gas, is when, when the motivation starts to deplete and you've got to now pick it back up. And it's so much easier to just consistently stay in the business, whether that means that you're there or you're showing up on a Zoom meeting, just so that you can, keep that level of motivation to make the business better, to do the jobs better there than it is to let it go and like be the true absentee owner, because you can lose the business if you don't stay on top of it. So, and then with coming in, acquiring a new business, it is scary to think of, I've never run this type of business before. But every business, like I said, has the same components. It needs marketing. It needs improvements. It needs team management. It needs, financial reviewing and reporting. It needs all of these things. It needs the income that's constantly it needs managing of expenses. No matter what business you're in, it's going to need all of those things. And so when you go into a new business, you're just asking questions based on in those components. Okay, how do you do the marketing for this, thing? Well, we do Facebook, we do social media, we do that, or well, we just talk to the local businesses. Okay, well now all right, all they do is talk to the local businesses. I can add this, I can add that.
Right.
And then with like expenses of things, honestly, it's going to show its nasty head at some point, like at some point something's going to break, whether you knew how to do it or not, like at some point it's going to break. At some point it's going to be important. At some point you're just going to learn how to like get it fixed. It's not going to be
Right.
you because, you're not going to be the one to, know how to fix some mechanical equipment, and you just hire that out.
Yep. Yep.
Like you just hire it out. So
Yeah, I think you mentioned
it has
something.
been,
I wanted to take you just a little bit back to when you were talking about culture, right, and your team, and how you implemented things, and the idea, right, for them to continually improve on those things, and how to continually develop that culture, right? Because in all businesses, it is driven by people, right? So if you generate the right culture among your business, the idea is for you to be able to at least supervise, right, some of the processes in place where it kind of pulls you off, right? But if those bad habits keep creeping up, right, how do you can come in as a leader and say, hey, what's going on here? We talked about XYZ and we're still here.
exactly.
So how do
Yeah.
you keep up with that, right? It's as a business owner. Do you
Yeah. So I've got a book, and I'm a writer.
mm,
So like I like to write things down. I can be, organized with like Monday.com and things like that. But the truth is I really like to have it on me. So every meeting, every week, I have like a running tab of things that
mm,
we talked about last week, things that now have come up new this week. And so I will check off all the things that got done. And so that's actually something that I brought up is I was like, hey, this is now the third week in a row that we've now talked about, the fact that we need to start posting on our social media. We're not there. So we're going to
mm,
give ourselves one more week. By next meeting, like this already needs to be in place and done, or else we're just continuing to drag on something that really is a high priority list item for us. So I've got, this is my blue is my assets. So I write all of the assets that I have under me, and the tasks that I have to do to stay on top of it. And I open it up and I'm running through that. And then I summarize everything that is my responsibility, everything that is their responsibility. We have a group chat together. So we're communicating back and forth within the group chat. We're sharing pictures. We have, I can see their calendar, so I know who's on, who's off. It's all about visibility. It's all about, being
yeah.
transparent. For me, something that I shared with them today is I'm not the type of business owner to hide things from them. Like I've got one team member,
Mm,
he's like, I don't know if you want me to bring this up here. And I'm like, bring it up, man. Like, it's okay. Like
right.
if you got to shout me out, shout me out. Like I want to be that type of person where I'm not hiding anything from them. And I think there are different types of leaders
So
who
important.
are scared to show, what's going on in behind the scenes. Like I said, I shared with them today and why it's very important that we need to, increase our stays is because my mortgage just went up 2 percentage points. And what does that mean, guys? That means that now I owe
Wow.
$1,000 more on my mortgage payment. So like, I need them to know why I'm bringing things up that are important to me. Like they were talking about, we need business cards. Guys, I mean, like, I know you want business cards, but like, all right, let's think of where we're spending our money. And because I also want them to think like the business owner. I'm not
Like the
somebody to
business
keep
owner.
people suppressed. I'm really somebody that likes to elevate people and move people up and pay people more. they like to talk about people, process, and product. And when you think of people, it's not just the people you're serving, it's the people that you also have to, that are helping you take care of those
Yep.
people that you need to make sure are taken care of. So
Right.
one thing that is going to affect them at some point that they all got really nervous about is because they stay on property. And so two of them pay the site fee that is charged for them. But I pay them very
Mm.
well. And one thing that I kept the same when I took over was that for everybody that stayed with us at the park, I would keep their site fee the same for 1 year. Well, 1 year has now come up. And so the one manager, my park manager, was like, hey, remember when you said that the price was going up? We're now here at this time. How much is it going up? And so the other team
Wow.
member started to kind of get a little nervous about it. And I was like, listen, another thing that's important is you don't make decisions right away on the call. So I need to think about this. Give me some time. I'm not going to like share, but here's my thought process on this. My thought process is that we need to be worried about new business. Like,
Mm.
why I can't, to think of charging the same people who have been there right now to increase their rates by what, $20? Like, no, I need the
Yeah.
$800 site fee. Like that's who I need. And so just even sharing that on the call made that one team member feel better. And then I ended up deciding over the course of the next two meetings that, you know what, we're not going to touch on legacy pricing right now. Let's talk about that in 6 months. There's a handful of you still on that pricing. I'm not worried about you guys. Let's keep you guys here and
Yeah.
happy, and let's worry about the new business. So,
Yeah, I love
I
that.
think it's being open, it's being transparent. I'm definitely, so, being in sports, I was a captain and part of teams. I, was, one of the participating players that definitely,
Mm.
that helped win games. And so, I'm very encouraging. I'm very positive. I'm optimistic, and I am confident that I can bring people in on that vision and lift them up, because it's not about me, it's about them. And if they are not happy, and not just including them, the people that are working with
Right.
me, but also the people that are there to be there at that park, if they are not happy, we do not have a business. So it's about
Oh,
them,
that's so
not
good.
me.
Well said. Ah, that is so good. Yeah, that's a winning culture right there, right? Once you bring that energy and that message across, people are going to attract to you, and they're going to want to do business with you, and they're going to want to stay with you and grow the business more. So big kudos to you. And earlier you were talking about a trip you made, and so we're going to bring it up here. It's another potential business opportunity. Share some
Yeah.
details about this business opportunity.
Cool. So this business opportunity came to me from a gentleman that on my Instagram knew that I was buying businesses, and asked me if I wanted to look over this potential business acquisition. Again, I told you, like, I'm like, yeah, let's look at it. Like, I'm not going to turn it down. Let's see what comes of this.
Right.
Um, and from the financials, I mean, 2 years in a row, the business has shown on paper that that it's negative, not showing
Mm.
positive income. When you break it down, the business owner is charging that business for his expenses. So he is
Mm.
literally pulling out the income from that business to pay for his motorhome, to pay for his car, to pay for his life insurance, to
Wow.
charge a $3,000 consulting fee. So when you eliminate that, and you start paying for that business, the business is actually a profitable business. And so that is something that you have to dissect, and something that I was able to look over in the 2 years of financials that I was looking at. And so then, okay, now let's go see this business. It's up north. I usually look at businesses and properties in Florida I've never looked at an out of state business before. So this is the first for me. It goes through seasons. So right now it's in the winter time, and that was obvious when I was there. It actually started to snow on my drive there.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah. And so it's, you got to go see it. I'm also somebody that I got to look around the area. It's got some caverns. So that was cool, but
Wow.
it wasn't
Neat.
very busy, at least at that time. It's on the river. So, well, the park is not on the river, but it's 3 miles down from the river. So one thing to do there during the summer is to go canoeing and kayaking down the river. That's cool. And then it's got like some wildlife encounters, but for the most part, everything's like, it's nowhere. I mean, it's right off of Route 66, which is exciting because it's off of a major highway.
Yeah.
But that is really what would be bringing into that business is somebody in an RV driving down this highway tired and needs to rest. It is not bringing in long-term people. There were 2 long-term people there, the only 2 people that were there. It seems to be a very seasonal business where they're bringing in their guests during the warmer months. And so when I show up, I'm looking at the business and thinking, okay, what do I need to do that is going to bring people here during the winter months? Because that is the only way I'm going to be improving this business.
Right.
The business is going to be getting its regular business during the summer, during the spring and the summer. How do I now extend this season either all year round or further past their October, November period in which they start to die down? So that's going to take winterizing some things, like there needs a barn that needs to be insulated. It needs, I'm thinking like jacuzzis, like something warm, like, like it's got a pool, which is cool, but the pool shuts down when it's in the wintertime. So you can't use that. It's got cabins that are.
Is it near a national park?
It's near some parks. Yeah. Not like national, other than going to, actually St. Louis and going to the Arch National Park. But that's like a 50-minute ride. It's got Six Flags. Six Flags is 30 minutes away, which was cool, but that closes down for the winter.
Yeah.
It's got, like you got to get creative. So I'm thinking like, even if you eliminate the expenses that he's taking out of the business, you still need to improve this business, which is going to require doing some work to it, which is going to require, injecting cash. So I've now got to rework my offer from looking at the park, because originally the one thing that was going to get the deal done was giving him a down payment of $50,000, that I'm like, do I want to buy this business for $50,000 that then still needs another $70,000, $100,000 of, improvements? I don't know. I think only if I can eliminate the down payment, like I told you, so that I'm not having to buy.
Yeah, maybe you could tell him, hey, instead of me giving you 50, let me inject that in the business. Once it stabilizes, bring more revenue, then we could. But I think it was a seller finance deal too, right?
Yeah, so sub to 100% seller finance. Wow. Yeah, taking over his existing mortgage, which I need to see the mortgage statement in order to verify that the business is able to pay for it. Right now, he
Mm.
is paying out of it. I just need to confirm that that is what is happening. So just waiting on a couple more pieces of information to verify this acquisition. But for the most part, the terms are fantastic to take over a business. And
Right.
I feel confident. There is a there's an employee there that that's another like iffy kind of thing. You also have to be careful of taking over bad habits.
Mm.
There were a couple of like key words that he was saying that just kind of like, oh,
Hmm.
that's gonna be work. And if she's already used to the way that she's been working, you got to find now. You have to have a conversation with her. What's her motivation? What does she want to do? What does she want to make her, to see if that's something to pull out of her, or is that going to
Mm-hmm.
require replacement?
Mm.
So lots to think about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something, right? You can look at the numbers, but then to your point, right? Who's running the business, right? Who's the like the receptionist, right? Or the manager for the business? Do they have that personality? Are they stuck in their ways, right? To your point, if they have those bad habits in place, you know, you got to somehow get rid of those. And if they are true bad habits, then got to bring somebody else in. That's so cool. The whole business acquisition space. I know me and you had one there in Miami. We were looking at that laundromat, and we were in the same things, right? It's like, hey, there's a manager in place, and then somehow his energy didn't come across right, and we're like, nope, we can't keep that guy.
Exactly. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and then came to underwriting, right? Does it make sense? How can we mitigate the risk? So it's an amazing space, when it comes to the business acquisition. So many opportunities. And then on the real estate, that is another big opportunity. We do come from Owners Club, which is a high level mastermind with Pace Morby. And it covers everything, right, from real estate to business acquisition, RV parks. You hosted a 2-day workshop as well for RV parks, teaching others about RV parks. I think you have an event coming up as well, right, where you teach people how to underwrite businesses.
Yes, yes, I have that
Tell
coming
us a
up
little
on
bit
December
about that. When
19th.
is that? December 19th.
So that, yeah, December 19th, which is only like 3 days away. But I will host more of them. And it's such it's a big part of business that people are scared to actually get their first acquisition because of
Mm,
this piece. And a lot of people, when they're doing the underwriting, they only focus on the technicals. The
hmm,
technicals being, okay, here's the financials. This is the numbers. These are the numbers. But there is more to the underwriting process. It's
mm,
number one, asking for the right documents. So, okay, great. What documents do I need to look at? And you really don't need a lot of them to just figure out at first glance, is this something worth continuing to look at? And then, great, now I have the financials. What am I looking at that is super important for me to ask more questions about?
hmm.
So you can get the financials, and then you're like, all right, I can see that I'm looking at, expenses and income, but like, now what do I do? And so people have to know what is standing out to them that they need to inquire and dig more into so that they can do better underwriting. Yes, it's a technicals. Yes, it's then taking and piecing those financials into a calculator that can help determine, if this is going to be a great future investment. But based off of those documents, figuring out those questions, then how do I prepare an offer with what I'm looking at? So I am breaking that down, and I'm so
Mm,
excited for it because I really poured into that like 1 hour session that I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to cover it all, and I'm going to have to go like super fast into it. But I am so confident that they will be able to leave feeling like, all right, I know what to look at now when I'm interested in a business, and I know how to ask those right questions and prepare myself an offer to present after this class. So I'm very excited for that.
Well,
Thank
I'm
you.
super excited for you. It's huge, what you're doing to help others in that space. Because to your point, right, people get the P&L data and it's like, okay, what I do with this, right? What true expenses you're able to massage, right, or eliminate, or how can you work those numbers better? So I am super excited for that. Where Oh no, my camera went away. Lovely. This is what happens, y'all. We're gonna transition here. Let's see if I can figure this out.
Cool.
But I'm
Cool.
super excited for you on that. And then where can people find out more about the event?
Cool. So you can go to ashleyperezinvest.com /DEC December hyphen masterclass. Or just go to my Instagram, Perez Invests, and I have it there, a link in my bio, so that you can come in with me on December 19th and join me on a journey of determining whether or not you're going to buy your next business in 2025. Oh, I can't hear you. You're muted.
Now.
There you go.
All
Yeah.
right. God, technical difficulties towards the end of the of the of the podcast here, but we figured it out. I'm so grateful to have you as a friend and congratulate you here on this workshop you have here coming up in just 3 days, 2 days away. You said the 19th, right?
Yeah, the 19th.
19th. So please register, follow her, check out. He's going to be dropping lots of information there. And Ashley, anything else you want to share with Latina women that may resonate with your message? Open floor, my friend.
I think, yeah, first and foremost, thank you so much for giving me the stage. Edgar, you have been a pivotal person in my life. I'm so grateful to have met you. So if anything, connect with Edgar, because Edgar is definitely someone to know in our community, in his own community. And I am very grateful to be in you, Edgar. So thank you so much for your stage and your audience, and for everyone else, for the Latina women, for moms who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs. I'm here to tell you that it is always going to be a difficult journey. Just give yourself grace. Understand that you are doing this with a much bigger purpose. It's not just you, it's for your children, it's for your family, it's for the legacy that you are here in this world to leave behind. And it is so worth it to go after your vision and your goals. And you got us to help you through it. So that's what I really want to share.
Awesome. I love that message. Drop the mic, Ashley. I love it. Boom. Well, thanks again, Ashley, for taking time away from your family and business. Again, follow her at Ashley Perez Invest. Definitely check out her course that she has coming up here in the next 2 days. So register now.
Cool.
Ashley, thanks. Peace out, my friend.
See you.